The question of the morning. What do we do with Nicho Hynes if you own him or if you don't? So, I think the easiest one here is if you do own him. They come up against the Tigers next week. And yes, I thought there'd be some type of bounce back this week compared to against the Doggies, just because Titans aren't as good of a side, but they're actually playing pretty well at the moment. You know, they beat the Warriors a couple of weeks ago before their bye. They got a rest and had some confidence coming into this game, obviously. And the Sharks have been starting pretty poorly, and as I said, the Titans are doing decent enough things. So the Titans are playing better than the Tigers right now. So you look to next week and you go, okay, Nicho should be able to do pretty well next week, right? I can't believe you got a try and got to 52. Anyway, the bailout try. What do we do? That's the big question. So I think if you're holding, and you're holding, right? Lock it in. You have a lot of options on the other side, though. You're super frustrated if you do own right now. He's getting low scores. He's losing cash. He'll be down sort of 820 odd next week, something like that, 815, 820. And he's playing, unfortunately, right now like a 720k player, 750k player, something like that. Just in recent history, obviously, his high score of 57 in the last three, and he's been in those 50s the whole time. So like a 750 type player. And has a bit more cash to lose from here. As a non-owner and a potential buyer next week, there's a few things you have to think about. You've got round 19 against the Tigers. That's a big thought, clearly. He has a buy in round 20. So it's getting to the point where there is a potential option that you do wait until round 21 and make it, or round 20 with Cleary, or get Haas, or get Isaiah Yeo, get Latrell Mitchell, these type of guys instead of Nicho. And you look at Nicho compared to Latrell right now, and it's night and day. Like, you want Latrell in your team way as a way higher priority than you want Nicho Hynes. So I got to look at my side, and you guys do as well. He's about 50% owned in the sort of top 1,000, top 5,000 there after last night's purchases. And you got to look at round 19 and look at your captaincies, I think, is a big one as well. So if Fifita is available for next week, then he's someone that I think could cover for you for sure. But outside of him, there's obviously not a tremendous amount of guys. Like, we won't have Jerome Hughes next week. We're not going to have any Dogs or Waz. We're going to have some Broncos, but which Bronco would you trust? We're not going to have any Panthers. We are going to have Titans. So yeah, that's where Fifita comes into it. We're going to have Sharkies, so maybe a Britton Nikora or something like that. Keon Kolomatangi, Damien Cook. These types of guys could be a play. Para Eels, you have potentially Dylan Brown with no Moses. We know that he turns things around and plays a bit different. For the Eagles, Tolu Kola? No, kidding. Well, he could, I suppose, if he's actually at fullback. But like, the captaincies is a little bit low. So if Hynes was actually to come out and get an 80 or an 85, a 90, 100, something like that next week and bounce back, then you'd have a little bit of trouble, I think, matching that. Unless, I think, you've got like someone like Fifita there next week. And obviously Britton Nikora is playing great as well. And he could do this as well next week. So that's probably the big thought. Do you prefer Nathan Cleary longer term, coming off an injury though? You know what I mean? Like, he's had a few problems now, and you could trade him in, and he could get injured in that first couple of weeks. It's when you're most susceptible to getting those hamstring injuries again. So there are lots of things to think about. So if you own him currently, you're clearly holding. He's got the Tigers next week. You can decide from there, but I feel like it'd be too big a move. Once he's lost all this cash, he'll be basically priced 60 or below, and you'd imagine he scores that for sure. Big issue here is obviously kick meters for him, which dropped again, but Trindle took 197 to 111 for Nicho, and just so many options, so many times there they were standing next to each other and he'd bypass Hynes, or there was one where he was ready to pass to the right, Hynes was there ready to go, and he turns and goes and passes it to Trindle, and Hynes is throwing his hands up. So he even said it himself after the game that they've got to sort this out. There's a lot of talk at the moment in the dressing rooms and training and everything like that, and there's not enough action at the moment, he was saying. So hopefully they just get back to just putting in effort, sorting out the discipline. And I do think he'll get the spoils on the other side. There was one of those that passed back on the inside to Jesse Ramian, looked pretty flat, looked pretty fine. I'm a non-owner, just remember, guys, and I thought that was probably flat and fine. And a couple of really good try-saving tackles from the Titans. They were very, very desperate at times in defense. And this game in the first half, it looked very lackadaisical. Like, Fifita was not running the footy hard at all. He was, super frustrating. If you don't own Fifita right now, You could almost wait. I do understand if you don't have Hynes and you want to get one of them next week, Fifita could be the play, given he'll play 20 as well if he doesn't make Origin. But he had to have 2 turnover tackles in this one to actually even get a half-decent score. Like, why is he running to the line? Not once, he ran to the line with a full head of steam. He was at the line, basically. It was a short ball, not hardly even, flat short ball, basically all the time that they gave him the ball. And then when he got the ball and hit the defense, he stopped. He literally stopped. The only time he actually ran with any vigor was the final play of the game. If you guys are watching that, it was pretty funny. It was good for owners, but it was like everyone's going slow and then he just sprints and he bypasses one tackle and makes like 10 meters before they tackle him. But why was that his biggest run of the game? And there's no way in the world I think that Slater can pick Fifita off the back of that effort. Defensively, was very, very lazy again in cover tackles, in actually just moving his feet. And then, it ran with no purpose at all in this game. And the shape looks pretty good. And then he's just right up on the defensive line. Like, he's catching it and they're hitting him at the same time. And he's not running with any pace. So, super frustrating. Both of those guys watching in that game, it's kind of like, what is happening right now in this one? So, I'm, potentially contemplating not grabbing Hynes next week now after what we've been seeing. And it's more for the fact that if they didn't have a buy in round 20, I would still definitely get him. It's more the fact that if you're adding another round 20 guy, I could actually, if I've managed to get lucky next week and he gets a 65 or 70, right? As a non-owner, I could make up some ranks in round 20. So if he managed to get 55 or 60 next week, it'd be absolutely awesome because then you have him as a buy and I don't in round 20, and getting guys like Keon and having him as captain, for example, or doing something like that, which is wild that Keon Kolomatangi is now a captaincy option. His play in the last month has just been spectacular. So, that's the thoughts on those two. Let's go to McInnes now, 56 in his 56 minutes, 48 tackles in that time. He's absolutely incredible. 1 penalty, 1 missed tackle. Very, very good. From him, he's a terrific captaincy option next week as well, for those interested. So he always works hard, does his good stuff. They defended for a lot of this game early. Obviously, that's where they're 69 run meters only. Talakai was awesome in this game as well, I thought. Got the try assist, picked up 7 tackle breaks, ran the footy well. Missed a few tackles, but he at least brought some energy in attack. Chris Randall, he plays so well at 13. He did have a lot of negatives in here, neg 18, but picked up a try saver. A few people asked me about him. Sorry that you didn't end up buying him. Could have been worse, I suppose, but Cleese Haas will return, and he was the 13, but I'm not sure if he's going to come back in that spot or not. Jesse Ramian should have picked up 70 plus with that try, but unfortunately wasn't to be. For Jesse, there with a 58, very, very annoying with that one. And he's playing really well this last sort of month as well. He's a good one to kind of muck around with, I think, at 550, if you want like a pod center for sure, given the run that they're about to embark on. Kinney, this is just frustrating me every single week. How is he now averaging 50 after he was literally struggling to get a point every 5 minutes in the first few games that I owned him. And I was like, this guy's a jet. He'll go like 45, 50 in his first few games. I was getting Trey Fuller vibes from him from the year before. And then he comes out and offers that up. And then now he's just a walk-up 60. It's absolutely ridiculous how this has played out. That's for sure. What's not ridiculous is Britton Dicker coming back into form. So good on him. Very good to see after a very, very slow start to the year and those 330s there. He is absolutely involved in everything. And 2 turnover tackles, a try assist there, which was a great one-on-one tackle actually from Tanner there to keep him held up, but it did end up with an offload and a try assist. It was almost a similar type of score that you end up with him. So he's another one under 700k edge that you can buy. Obviously misses round 20, but still a great situation for you to be looking at someone like him. Verrills with 47. Bit too awkward of a price to even looking at. Aaron Clark just delivering there, 44 in 42 minutes. Was great for owners of him. Kale Iro, another 42 with no attacking stats. And he gets close, and there's sometimes you're like, maybe you could have passed it to Ronaldo, but I think Ronaldo would have got smacked over the sideline. So it seemed like the smarter, safer play to come back, to run straight himself or to come back on the inside a little bit. So just not having great shape down that left-hand side at the moment. Sadly, Trindle is fine, I suppose. They just need to sort this out, don't they? He still had 3 errors. Hazelton looked better in this game. than he has been. Kafusi, same thing. Kelly of 38, pretty stock standard for him. People mentioned Blake Brayley. He's got too many 30s in his game, so I'm glad I didn't do that one. Both for more, keeps having to go out to the centres, which is killing for him, but he's having good run meters when he gets his opportunity. You got Palacia there. I was saying, like, just how rough his season, like the turnaround from last year to this year, and he wanted to be a focal point in this forward pack. And it does sound like, it seemed like he was being very humble in that preseason chat. But what I think it was a lack of confidence, sadly. And, very happy for him to pick up this try. But, I was saying in the group chat, just like, how he's gone downhill, unfortunately, in his confidence in his play. Like, he's just not running with any force. He's, dropping balls and stuff like that. And then he got that try, which is very helpful for him. Matt Fortawaker, 30 in 48 minutes for him. If anyone looking at that, Wilton's going to get cheaper and cheaper over the next bunch of weeks. Metallica's doing a good job. I think they'll keep Wilton off the bench. Jackie Williams, 32 minutes, picked up a wrist injury. I wonder how he's going to go. Atkinson got a try and a line break with 16. Pretty gross. And you had Ronnie, 16. So, I think just at the moment, the team's pretty gross. I don't know, if the team was playing great, I think that he would have worked out really well. He had what I thought was a line break, but ended up being a line break assist in there, in that big run, which actually helped him get that last try that they scored. But 16 for him. I think you're holding, but definitely not looking to buy at the moment. It's pretty gross at that one. And then the Broncos versus the Panthers, really fun one, to be honest, this one. Seeing where the boys are at. The Broncos, a bit more of a comeback. They played so much better than they have in recent time. Unfortunately, they have not updated the stats here on this one. So Reece Walsh goes up to an 81, I believe. Yeah, 81 for Reece. Did a cracking job in this one. He looked the best he has had since all the injuries that he's copped, really. Since the eye, the cheek cut, or whatever it was. Eye cut, sorry. The eye. Since the knockout in Origin. This is the best game he's looked by far, so good stuff from him. Definitely have a look come post-Origin for sure. I think he'll definitely play Origin after that one. People are like, he looks like he's got the spot now. I think he had the spot anyway. Ponga, if he was to play, is fighting for 14. Lindsay Smith went up a little bit, I think, as well. 61? 65, wow. Good stuff for Lindsay. How good was that grubber? And picked up a line break as well, so good stuff for him. Couple of turnover tackles. Isaiah Yeo up to 60 in 68 minutes. They got a little bit of a rest, and which is good. I think they didn't do this last year, and it's a smart thing to try and do, just to give him little games with small rest in and around Origin. 65, 70 minutes is still sweet. Doesn't have to be on for the full 80 in games like this, where they're still winning and they're doing good things. Really, really good guy for the back end of the year for sure. Picking up that 60. Payne Haas with a 56. I feel very lucky at the moment that Payne Haas, I said under 55, but he's gone up to 56 there in this game. Very, very lucky that that was the way he warmed up the offloading arm for a little bit there, the tackle breaks and the rest. But run meters were down, so it just stops his ability to get those offloads and tackle breaks. But he's also playing the Panthers, who are very good in first contact, and sort of slowed him down a bit. But 56 as captain. You had 56 for him. You had 60 for Yo. Latrell's been the big one so far with the 73. Then you've got Hynes and Fifita, 52 and 51. I don't think anyone would have thought that Hynes was going to beat Fifita the way that was going last night for sure. Brian To'o hit a really good game as well. He picked up a 50 in this one, so dropped down a little bit. I don't know why it doesn't transfer over, but that's frustrating. We've actually got Dylan Edwards from 50 all the way up to 62. So if you're a holder of Dylan, massive. He just keeps doing the damn thing. He's got 10 tackle breaks in this one. Just crushing it. Not just saying, line break, 3 tackles, 2 misses. Yeah, everything's the same as what it is. 1 goal kick, missed the others. Yeah, he was awesome. Look at him in the back end for sure. He's very expensive though. Carrigan unfortunately went down to 45. I think Kenny went up to 55. There's just so many swings in this one. Unfortunate for Carrigan, just wasn't his night. Obviously they played him on the edge, which is always disgusting. So thankfully for them, Ricky's back next week, and he'll go back to the middle once Origin is done. But I can understand people looking to sell him. It's a frustrating time at the moment for Origin players in general, except for Latrell. Sorensen, 49. Really, really good effort from him. He'll take that every day of the week for Scotty in that one. Yeah, at his price, 49's massive. He's really improved in this back end, and he's getting a lot of 80-minute games, which is good. Cobbo, a really nice score as well for him at his price. Jerome Luai, a little bit of a downer one for him. No attacking stats, but still good on the base front. And Cleary will be back, so I think it's almost time to sell Jerome there very soon. Smoothie, 48. Really good in his 56 minutes, 48 tackles is impressive. Liam Henry, 45 in 33, so him and Lindsay Smith just crushing it in the minutes that they got. Jensen, 43 in this one as well. Pretty solid after, if you grabbed him last week for a big score. Xavier Wilson up to a 39, so we'll take that as an owner from him. I managed to be able to loop both Willison and Pikura, and I can take Willison, so just see what you can do in those certain spots. So I've got Willison in actually number 7, Pikura in 6, but I can take Willison. And shout out to Jason Robson for help. I hadn't looked into it too much yet, but he helped me out with that one. It's a pretty highbrow loop, that one. Just having to move, Samuela Fainu down into edge and lock that one in and be able to get all of them individually or all together at the same time, which is very, very good. So thanks for doing that as I was replying to people and not spending enough time on my squad. Isaac Tongo, he goes up to like a 40-odd, so 42. Crusher, welcome back. Still had a pretty crappy error. One missed tackle there, I think, in the end, or it got taken away. 2 missed tackles in the end. So they gave him one and must have got a try saver or something. So good stuff for him. Same run meters, 42. So he's someone to potentially target when Cleary's back after their bye, obviously, as well. But yeah, it's not playing the same. He got crunched at 1.2. Mosley Otter. Fisher Harris, a low one for him, 34, sadly. So he didn't get as many offloads and tackle breaks in this one against a tougher middle with Haas and Willison and these types of guys. Schneider got crunched as well in one of them. 33 for him. Looks like he's okay. What about Jack Cole coming off the bench and getting a try instantly? That was great. So good stuff for Jack Cole. Anyone who's still holding, unfortunately, had to play out in the centers, and Schneider started instead. But did a job and coming on and getting that 33, 35 in the end, which was great. Oates, Hetherington, Madden, Arthurs, Pikura. 14 down to a 9. Oof, gross. Gross. I'll be taking his score next week, but 24 tackles, 10 misses. He's disgusting. I don't want to watch next week. He'd been doing well, and he'd been making us money too, so he just starts to... he's probably got a week or two left in my side at max, and then we'll be moving on. And if we have the opportunity to upgrade next week, I could go him to like Madison or something. If I have the cash, we'll see. I don't think I have the cash. We'll see how that one plays out, something like that. Or just hold him for next week and move on in 20. So there you go, guys. That's the 2 games. I wanted to focus clearly on the Hynes Fifita situation there in that first game. That's obviously the big talking point here. And the rest of the guys, if they're Origin related, we can wait till later on. But they're most of the buys in Isaiah Haas, Walsh, these types of guys. So thanks so much for being here, guys. And we'll catch you in tomorrow's update. Obviously enjoyed the 3 games today. It's going to be plenty of fun. We got Doggies, Waz, Tigers, Storm. Come on, the Jerome Hughes captain. Let's do it. Cowboys and Seagulls to finish things off. So come on, Drinky and any Tolu Cola fullback people. But thanks, guys. See you in the next one.